He claimed to be God, but what he did to his followers was hell. In 1992, in the quiet backwoods of Kentucky, 12 bodies were discovered buried beneath a farmhouse. All were dressed in identical robes, starved and arranged in a ritualistic circle. At the center of the circle lay one man, Elijah Mears, a self-proclaimed prophet who claimed to be the second coming of Christ. He was not among the dead. Instead, Elijah had vanished. For years, the case baffled law enforcement. Who were these people? Why did they die so willingly? And most chillingly, where was Elijah now? To understand the crime, you have to understand the man. Elijah Mears wasn't born into infamy. In fact, he was born Elijah Martin, a soft-spoken preacher's son with a troubled past. At 16, he ran away from home, claiming that God had spoken to him directly, commanding him to prepare for the end of days. By 25, Elijah had legally changed his name, grown a following of misfits, outcasts, and drifters, and established a community known as the Circle of Light. He promised salvation, purpose, and eternal life, but only through absolute obedience. The relationships Elijah built with his followers were disturbingly intimate. They weren't just members, they were chosen ones. He chose who could marry, who could have children, even who could eat. And in return, they gave him everything: their money, their bodies, and eventually, their lives. One former follower, Rebecca Kane, who escaped a year before the massacre, described Elijah as both mesmerizing and monstrous. He didn't scream or hit, he whispered. He made you feel like the only way to be whole was to be nothing without him. Elijah's control was total. He convinced his followers that death was the doorway to divinity, and that to be chosen, they had to die willingly. When police stumbled upon the bodies in 1992, they weren't looking for them. A nearby landowner reported a horrible smell and strange chanting echoing through the woods at night. By the time authorities arrived, the farmhouse was abandoned, doors open, candles still burning. Inside they found audio recordings. On each tape, Elijah's voice could be heard guiding his followers toward ascension. This world is ash, you are light. Burn the flesh, free the spirit. Investigators pieced together that Elijah had orchestrated a mass starvation ritual. He called it the fasting of the flesh, a 40-day period where followers were forbidden from eating, speaking, or leaving the inner sanctum. But this wasn't suicide. There were signs of restraint, struggle, and sedatives in the bloodstream of many victims. Forensics indicated that some had tried to escape, but were injected and redressed before their deaths. Even more shocking, Elijah had been feeding himself in secret. A hidden pantry behind a wall revealed canned goods, protein bars, and bottled water. He watched them die. One by one, he called it sacred sacrifice, and then he disappeared. Why would a man orchestrate the slow, horrific deaths of those who loved him? The answer may lie in Elijah's obsession with divinity through destruction. In his journals, which were recovered from the farmhouse, he wrote, "To rule heaven, I must first be mourned on earth. To be eternal, I must become legend." He wasn't trying to save them. He was trying to immortalize himself. Every sermon, every rule, every manipulation was about control and legacy. Elijah believed that if he could make people die for him, willingly or not, then he would prove himself worthy of being a god. But there was another motive: money. Elijah had taken full control of his followers' estates. After their deaths, he became the legal executor of over $2.3 million in assets, properties, and life insurance payouts. He transferred the money into offshore accounts weeks before the ritual began. This wasn't just a cult. It was a con wrapped in divine doctrine. He used God to get rich. He used love to get power. And he used death to disappear. For over 2 decades, Elijah Mears was a ghost. Rumors swirled that he had fled to South America, that he'd had plastic surgery, even that he was living in plain sight under a new identity. But in 2017, the case broke wide open because of a podcast. A true crime journalist named Cameron Holt launched a series called God Complex, diving deep into cult leaders who vanished without a trace. The first episode, Elijah Mears. Within a week, a listener in New Mexico contacted the show with a tip. She recognized Elijah, not from news reports, but from her yoga instructor, a man named Eli Marsh, who preached spiritual cleansing and had dozens of devoted female followers. The FBI moved in fast. In a quiet, adobe-style retreat outside Santa Fe, they arrested Eli Marsh. DNA confirmed it. He was Elijah Mears. He had reinvented himself again. New face, new name, same game. At trial, he showed no remorse. In fact, he smiled through most of the testimony, especially when survivors spoke. When asked by the prosecutor if he had anything to say to the families of the victims, he said only, "They died to prove my power. Now the world knows my name." He was sentenced to 12 life terms, one for each victim, without the possibility of parole. Elijah Mears promised eternal life, but all he gave was death. Was he a prophet, a predator, or something even more dangerous? A man who believed his own lies? One thing's for sure, the only thing more terrifying than a killer is a killer with followers.